Special thanks to our sponsors for sending us to Computex 2017.
Welcome back everyone to Computex 2017. We're here at the AirLive booth and their smart home solution. We've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. It's a different take on tech. I know that most of you are used to the PC side of things, but I think this stuff is actually very interesting and it gives way to a lot of interesting things for home solutions, home security in general. So here's your Smart Life IoT kit, starting first with the gateway up top. Now think of it as like your central hub. So all of these other components here are going to communicate with this device, which will connect online and in turn connect with your mobile devices to give you full control over what is happening within your home or wherever you happen to have these set up. For example, generic home security stuff here. You open this up, it communicates with the hub, and it'll notify you on something like your iPad that the door has been opened. So from a security standpoint, that is fairly routine. Another important note, the Smart Life Gateway can connect up to 232 of these devices, whether or not you have a very large office space or just a small home. You shouldn't have a problem with the number of devices you can connect to it and thus be able to read and interact with on your mobile device. Now something like this, you might be wondering, okay, this just looks like a simple outlet plug. What on earth does it do? So if you plug this into a wall outlet and then in turn, let's say plug it into a lamp, then from your mobile device you can control whether or not this is on and is delivering power to that device plugged in. You can also set up if-then statements that we'll show you later on. So let's say your parents are out for the night and you want them to have light when they get back. If the motion sensor detects them and within close range of your house, then you can set an if-then statement to say if that detects them, this will send power to, say, a power strip with a bunch of lights plugged in, maybe wire it into your home directly, so that it'll light up those lights for them without them having to actually turn them on manually. So ease of use is definitely involved here. Now to be clear, this is not just a window door sensor. Obviously, open the door, you get the notification, but it's also got a built-in temperature sensor as well as a built-in light sensor. This one right here is just a PIR sensor, so infrared radiation detects motion from a certain distance away, calibrated to around the human size, so it won't go off if your dog or cat is walking back and forth, but if a human that you don't expect to be there is there, then it will notify you within the app, within your mobile device, that this sensor is going off. The camera up top is actually very cool. It's got all of these sensors built in, practically temperature, you've got the PIR, and you also have the camera itself, so you can view kind of a live feed. So it's all nice, it's all coordinated. The camera's a big one though, because this has everything in it, so you could just buy this by itself. So this is the AirLive app. There's a lot of stuff you can do here. You can view live feeds, you can set scenes, you can set like certain timestamps for things to happen at certain times throughout the day. You also have the macros here, back to what we were talking about with programming certain responses to stimuli that you set up. So we have the PIR sensor, which was that round sphere that detects infrared radiation, basically motion. If that is triggered by any person, then you can set a then statement. The meter, let's say we have a meter here. We can set the meter to turn on. If we have a light plugged into it, then the light will turn on if the PIR sensor is triggered. Another cool thing about this, actually, it will auto-report power consumption throughout the day and give you kind of a report of how much power you've drained from this itself. So you can kind of gauge your power usage and actually control your power bill to an extent. Now, if you're wondering about price, depending on what you want in your kit, you can either get a kit with the camera, somewhere around here, or a kit with the smart plug. It costs you anywhere from around $200 to $250 US dollars, depending on MSRP. That's subject to change a little bit, but expect to pay around that price for a kit like this, which, mind you, isn't that bad. And if you want just the camera, which has, remember, everything built into it, around $140 US dollars. So depending on how much you want to spend, how much coverage you want in your home or place of business, you're expecting to spend anywhere from $100 to $300, which isn't all that bad for a full-on security system that you can integrate and communicate with through your mobile device. Now, AirLive focuses on other solutions as well. An interesting one I didn't personally know much about till we came here. The fact that 4G LTE connection that you might have from your phone, from your service provider, here anyway, is excellent. It's actually phenomenal. And I'm kind of spoiled by it at this point. I'm going to hate going back home because my data connection over there is not nearly as good. So what AirLive's done is taken advantage of that a bit. They've given you a solution where you can actually plug in your phone SIM card. It's just take any phone SIM card you have, T-Mobile SIM card, something along those lines. Pop that thing into here, and then you got yourself wireless connectivity, wireless internet connectivity from your cell phone service, which is actually it's not a new idea, but it works excellent in certain markets. Here it would work great in Taiwan. So think of this like a mobile hotspot. Instead of your phone doing that for you, taking your cell phone connection from a tower and projecting that as like a Wi-Fi signal, this takes the load off. This does it all for you with a simple SIM card insert. Here in Taiwan, it's actually very applicable because if you have unlimited data, then this is something that would be very useful even in home applications. You could put it in your car. It even has a GPS antenna, by the way, so if your car or whatever you happen to throw this into gets stolen or taken unexpectedly, then you can actually track it just with this dedicated antenna here. And if you want it for a home solution or an office solution, then you can actually wire just straight up RJ45 port from this system, from your cell tower, directly into your PC or other device. So this whole application, it might not make as much sense now in the US markets because we don't have unlimited data yet. There's throttling issues. Sometimes you get, up to 20, 30 gigabytes in a month, and a lot of people will go actually over that or get pretty darn close to it. So if you use this, for sure, you'll be using a lot of data, especially if you're using it as a home solution because so many devices will be connected to it. But this is kind of like the motivator. This is we're trying to push people into this like wireless connectivity mindset. In a place like Taiwan, it's already here. I have unlimited data on a SIM card that I purchased for like $10 US equivalent. Like it's here, we just have to convince the markets elsewhere that this is the future. So here's your typical home Wi-Fi router. You've got your standard 12 volt in, 4 LAN ports, USB interface. So a lot of you probably own one of these at some point or still currently do. These are still very common in households. And then here's a typical access point. In a nutshell, think of an access point as an extension of your router's Wi-Fi signal. If you set up, let's say 3 or 4 of these in your home, they all share the same SSID, then you'll have one large Wi-Fi projection thanks to all of these you have set up on top of what could be spotty with your Wi-Fi router by itself. Another interesting point about this PoE Ethernet, which means that you're actually delivering power to the access point via the Ethernet cable, basically allows you to cut your 12 volt line. You don't have to have as many wires to deal with. When you set these things up, literally pop in the Ethernet cable, just screw it into your ceiling wherever you have these mounted, and there you go. Not, again, for typical Wi-Fi routers, but something like this, maybe a prosumer would have one of these with PoE support, this is all you would need. It's actually a very portable solution. Or you could be a straight boss and have something like this. I feel like Will has something like this in his house. Now, to be frank, we just barely scratched the surface of the Internet of Things. AirLive is called AirLive because they're all about wireless connectivity, making things simple to use over just wireless uplink, wireless connectivity. Having a home security system that's completely wireless that you can access from a mobile device is extremely convenient. It's, I think, the way of the future. And there are so many other industrial applications that we haven't even talked about yet that probably don't apply to most of you, but if you are interested, you can check those details out in the video description. With that, we're going to call it a day here. This is Science Studio. Thanks for traveling with us.